All right. Number 14 as we move this along. We have Aron Kiviharju. Kivy, how are you?
How are you?
Yeah, that hurt.
First off, his confidence as an all-time level. Walking up to Billy G at the draft and saying what he said.
Yeah, to say what he said. I don't know. I want to ask him if we ever get him on the podcast. I got to know, like, did you immediately say, like, I'm going to go find him and say this, or did you happen across him and be like, all right, fuck it, I'm doing it? Like, I need to know how pre-orchestrated that was versus, like, he found him, he's like, fuck it, let's go.
Yeah.
God. We're pretty balanced here. 13, 15 across.
We all love him.
So, and honestly, I would rank him higher if not for I just want to see him play a full season off of injury, right?
That's exactly where I'm at too. Yeah.
I treated him and Ryder Ritchie the exact same in that sense. Like both of them could easily be in my top 10 come this winter when we circle back on this for mid-season review. But yeah, I imagine we're all pretty similar spots with this. I don't know who wants to take it.
I mean, I'll say he's a smart player, good a breakout wizard. He can run the power play. I think he was one of Finland's best players in the world championships when he played, whatever it was. He's
U18s. He dominated.
U18s, that's what, yeah. You know, kind of brings that leadership quality. He's been an assistant captain or captain with a lot of teams, and just kind of like one of those like mid-round, later-round guys that could make a big impact come in. And like you said, I'd like to see what he can do off of injury, but definitely an intriguing pick with the skill set he brings.
Yeah, I think a guy in like a slightly similar boat to Charlie Stramel in a way where it's like, he's had some injury trouble, been injured off and on, and now is really looking out with a chip on his shoulder this coming season to like go out and prove like, hey, I was a first-round talent, supposedly when the season started, and by the time the draft rolled around, I slipped to the 4th round. Like, and then to like, as you guys, teased kind of at the beginning of talking about him, like going up to the GM and just saying, you just got the biggest steal of the draft. Like there's something about kind of that swagger and that confidence that you have to like in a young kid. Like he's determined to go out and show what he can do, put in the work. So I think, attributes like that make you a little bit excited.
I am close to ordaining him a son. Like the way Z talked about him the first time we got into Aron Kiviharju, like on the way too early draft talk
2 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while. Man,
TPS is such a good organization too.
Well, he profiles to basically be a better Kalen Addison, so I'm all in on this. I thought he'd be like a 2nd or 3rd rounder. When he fell to the 4th and the Wild got him, I was beside myself. It was fun.
No, well, and until he played the last 2 years with he played TPS from like 16 to 15 to 17, which is like such a they're one of the better organizations in Liga as well, especially developing their young guys as well. I know Sammy Salo works with even the younger guys outside of the pro team on the defensive side of stuff, and the fact that he from 15 to 17 was with them before he joined HIFK now, but I absolutely love this guy. I've been watching him for a little while as well. I mean, honestly, since Z brought 2 years ago when Z brought him up, I was like, all right, let's check him out. And then I was like, oh, he's TPS, and I was like, oh my god. Started watching U18s, and I was like, holy fuck yeah, this guy's he's good everywhere. I just want to see a full season. I want to see a full season in Liga. I want to see him with more minutes, and I want to see some of that swagger like personified this year. And I think we're all confident in saying that we expect him to be that guy.
Yeah. I can't remember which player we talked about last time we did this, but I think it might have been. We'll get to when we talk about him. The kid from Denver, whose name I'm totally blanking on at the moment.
Yes.
Rieger. Yeah, Lorenz.
Yeah.
I think we kind of talked about him last year. This is the guy that we feel definitely should be higher and probably will shoot up the next time we do that. And spoiler alert, he obviously hasn't been mentioned before 14, so he's jumped up the board quite a bit. But I get kind of the same feelings here with Kiviharju that if when we do this again, he could easily be inside the top 10.
I think Rieger's more like a Stramel though, whereas Kiviharju, if the injury wasn't a thing, I don't think any of us would be hesitating. Granted, I don't think the Wild would have gotten him. So,
yeah.
But yeah, that's very fair. Anyone else want to touch on Aaron with 1A. Fuck you, Aaron Rodgers. Kiviharju.
Yeah, just real quick. Like, not only was he, before he got hurt, like a year and a half ago, he was a guy that all of us would have been watching him for 2 years at that point. Like, he was a guy that was in the running for first overall. Like, that was the ceiling at one point for a kid like Aron Kiviharju. I think it was last year at the Holinka as a draft -1. He was one of the top 5 players that tournament. Absolutely Finland's best player. Ran their power play and like was scoring at 5v5. Made the move to IFK from TPS and only got to play 7 games, even though 7 games, very hit or miss. And then he got hurt and didn't play again. So he literally played 7 club hockey games this year. At the U18s, there were a lot of shifts where it's like, there it is. That's the Kiviharju that like was projected to be first overall. And then you saw a lot of the blemishes. Like, there's the guy that's like a 5'9" left shot D-man who is very much predicated on offense. That's his game. There's the concern right there. So I think still, though, coming into the draft, anyone that's been watching this kid's like, he can't go later than 2, but like the first round's going to be, that might be a pretty big, like, you're swinging for upside there, but he probably doesn't make it out of the second round. And once he got to the 4th, me and Hoppy were live streaming, and we were like, is he, dude, Kiviharju still there? They had, it was the 4th round. They had 2 picks and they didn't take it with their first 4th round pick. And then we're like, holy fuck, like he's still there for their second one. They took him. So in terms of like a 4th round pick, that's a joke. His upside is crazy. He's also a guy that has a super low floor just with the profile of player. So talent wise, home run 4th round pick. If it doesn't even work out, like you can't really get mad about a kid that doesn't play if you like took him in the 4th round. But
one of your 2 4th rounds, yeah.
It is very seldom you have a kid that's taken the 4th round with this kind of upside. His track record is absurd. And so he got drafted in the 2nd round this year by Moncton in the Q. I actually have gone back and forth between wondering if he would be better off playing in Liga this year on a decent IFK team versus playing in the Q, playing North America, and just like missed all of last year. When he played, very hit or miss. Is it better to just get acclimated to North American hockey? The Q is very different. His profile of player, that's where it's like, okay, what is the risk reward there? Like, the thing in Finland is like a guy like that doesn't really tend to pop. Like, it's a very defensive league, not high scoring whatsoever. So I went back and forth on like, is he better off going over there and like trying to play top 4 minutes in Finnish Liga, or coming to the Q and playing like 30 minutes a night and being probably their best defenseman within 2 weeks of the season starting? He's going to go to Liga. He's playing in Finland. Playing pro hockey's great. I think it's a win-win.
Just smirking, just waiting for Ethan to freak the fuck out.
I can see it.
It's like, I think we should weigh in to see if Isha thinks he should play in the Q.
Yeah, there's only one right answer here, and it's to not go to the Q.
I'm happy that he's going to be playing pro hockey. Again, the big thing is with how much time he missed last year, I almost wondered if junior hockey to get back into it is the way to go. Because it's not like he's going to play 1 year and then be like NHL ready. Like, you look at a kid that we will be talking about soon here, Rasmus Kumpulainen, also from Finland, played great in the O this year, going back to Liga next year, this upcoming season. And Kiviharju's not a guy, again, he's not going to play and then 1 year after getting drafted and then stepping into the NHL. So for me, it wouldn't have been a bad thing if he wanted to go play in the Q, play a full year where he is the guy on their back end. And even if he wanted to go play pro hockey again in Finland for another year, that's fine. Like, I would have been fine with that too. So if he took like the Kumpulainen route, I would have been like, yeah, whatever. Wouldn't have been a big deal to me. I think it's fine either way. So the fact, as long as he, and given his attitude, I think it's very likely that he will not have a problem bouncing back from injury and like stepping into the lineup, because he does not suffer from like a lack of confidence. But that was just a question I keep going. I've always gone back and forth on, like, once he got drafted by Moncton. So, Isha, I'll let you shit yourself, but that's just
I mean, when you put it like that, like, yeah, one confidence boost a year, sure, but like maybe some of the defensive stuff that he needs to polish, even just to get to like a baseline where it's like, yeah, he's not going to be the defensive guy that you lean on. Like, he ain't going to learn that in the queue, right? They're just going to let him run wild. So I don't know, from a confidence point of view, like, sure, but like, I think him in Liga will do him better. Because then when he comes to North America and even plays in, like, say he comes over to AHL or whatever, or even right into the Wild, then like, I don't know, then he'll be able to like do his thing, and they'll put him in a situation where it's like, okay, we're not gonna like expect you to be like a shutdown guy or anything like that. Like, do your fucking thing, and if you can't do it at this level, then all right, we have our answer. But like, Liga at least will help polish and, you know, develop a little bit of those defensive woes. Whereas if he goes to the queue, it's not gonna matter. Like, he's just gonna, like you said, put up like 60 to 70 points and not give a shit about defense at all.
Yeah, I mean, again, so the big thing that I went back and forth on is like, all right, I think in my head I'd rather have him play 25 minutes a night in the queue versus like go to Liga, all the confidence in the world, first 5-6 games he's getting 10 minutes, and it's like, also those 10 minutes not going to be any offense, not going to be any power play time. Going to be like basically third pair, getting absolutely crushed in the forecheck in that league. Like, what's that going to do to the confidence? Again, he is the type of kid, I don't really worry that much about the confidence side of things. Like, but that was where I was going back and forth. Like, well, like, he could go into Finland this year playing in Liga, all the comps in the world, training camp could happen, might not go great, or it could go well. And still, first 5-10 games, he's playing 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes. Third pair. I don't really know how much that does for him. Like, I look at a kid like Soini this past year, this draft season, definitely shouldn't have been playing pro hockey. That's where I go back and forth. So I still think either way, he is that good. Like, he is another level of Soini. So that where that conversation is like, all right, well, that's not the same thing. That's just like black and white. That was where I was bouncing back and forth on. But
I wish it was the O or WHL that drafted him, not the fucking Q, because then it would be an easier answer.
Yeah, there you go. The dub, baby. He did get drafted by Kitchener in 2023. So
no, Kitchener fucked up. Not bringing him in.
But either way, the upside is not in question. He is fucking legit. My God, can this kid play? He is so fun to watch when he is healthy and feeling himself. Like, he's a fucking beast. So definitely one to watch this year for sure. Again, another Finnish kid I get to watch more of.
Yeah, the amount of time we just spent on him, people are like, holy fuck, he's 14. Okay.
Years old? Buckle up.
Again, everyone, the biggest steal of the draft this year.